What's up, everybody? This is Kieran Reese, the Obsessive Compulsive Gamer, the O.C.G. And if you know me at all, you know my channel, you'll know I'm a huge fan of Resident Evil. I was born just a few months before Resident Evil, in May of '96, and it came out in September. And I followed the series throughout my entire life. It's just about one of the only series that I will buy any game in the series, pretty much. And I have played virtually every game, and every new game is a day one purchase for me. Well, they recently upgraded Resident Evil 7, 2 Remake, and 3 Remake. And it's kind of been making me go over my thoughts of them again. And recently I came into what I think is probably the greatest boss battle in the entire series. And probably one of the best boss battles in any game I've ever played. And that is Marguerite in the greenhouse. Now, before I get into this video, can I please just ask for you to like, comment, and subscribe if you like the video? I have plenty of views, but I'm kind of struggling on likes, comments, and subscribers. It really makes a difference. So, with that being said, let's do this. After spending the last hour or so chasing from or hiding from Marguerite in the boathouse, you finally corner her to this abandoned greenhouse. Automatically things aren't sitting right with you because it's old, it's quiet, and well, you just chased her creepy crawly ass into this thing. So already you're just like, this isn't right. You run up the stairs and make your way into the house, ready to go. And there's nothing. You're already just like, oh no. You know, it's the quietness that gets you. Resident Evil 7 is so great in that. So, you hop down a hole you know you're probably not coming out of without a boss fight. And you're just quietly looking around. And still nothing. It starts to freak you out already. You're expecting a cutscene to something. You know, usually Resident Evil, they fucking announce those boss fights. So finally, you make your way up the stairs, and boom! One of the best fucking executed jump scares ever. I mean, holy crap. Can we just take a second to talk about how fucking awesome that jump scare was? Just immediately. In most Resident Evil games, they telegraph the boss fights in advance, they give you a cutscene, you know what's coming on. Not here. And it's the silence leading up to it that's freaking you out. You're going to the greenhouse, you know you're probably getting ready for a showdown, you know she's got the lantern, you need it. You are going, you drop down the hole you know you can't get out of. So you're already like, where is this bitch, where is this bitch? And then boom! She gets you. You know, so often we get jump scares in movies or games, and they just feel fucking cheap and unearned. But this jump scare is fucking masterful. It's the perfect, setup to all that tension. And the fact that it's not just a boo, but she's grabbing you and you have to shoot her in the face to get her to let you go or flamethrower in the face is amazing. Alright, back into it. Another thing I love that is immensely satisfying is the item chests. These chests are protected by spiders. The only way to get into the items is to burn them off, but you have to do that while she's on your ass. Create an interplay. Do you want those items? And since Resident Evil 7 forces you to have so few items already, it creates that interplay where you know you're going to reload at some point. And then there's just the presentation. The way she fucking moves, crawling on the ground. The way she flops like a real bug. I honestly feel like they must have studied insects for this. But one thing I especially love is the open layout of the fight. The battle with her takes place in the greenhouse. And it's a place with many rooms, tons of optional goodies, and multiple levels. As well as locking doors. So you actually can create shortcuts as you fight, as some doors are locked from one side. As you can see, it gives you tons and tons of room to move around. In fact, I've seen people play this fight completely differently. Some people went one way, some people went another way. The freedom that this fight gives you is spectacular. It means that it's not just linear way. You can approach this fight however you want to with a myriad of weapons. I love stuff like that, and they honestly don't have enough battles like that in Resident Evil. I wish they had more. Another thing I really love about this fight is the way the dynamic is consistently shifting from hunter to hunted. For the first part of the fight, you'll be just trying to run away from her and get shots in as you flee. And then all of a sudden she'll scamper away and you can't find her and hear her. Well, it turns out at a certain point in the fight she'll scamper away and start planting nests that will spawn insects that will crowd you and make your life much more difficult. As not only are they a serious threat, but it's much harder to fight her when you're already dealing with that on top of everything else. But the trick is, if you catch her in the act and shoot her, you can stop her. So it creates this amazing moments where she'll be chasing you, and then all of a sudden flee away to go do, then you're like, oh shit, and then you're chasing her. Switching it up, switching the dynamic, having to listen for audio cues. This battle also perfectly highlights how Resident Evil 7 is a technical showpiece. The first game to ever use the RE engine, the Resident Evil engine, or Reach for the Moon engine, it was designed to make games look as good as possible with a stellar lighting while moving in quickly. And not only that, but Resident Evil 7 had particularly lofty goals. It was designed with PlayStation VR in mind. And a rule for VR is that every game that does VR for Sony has to be locked at 60 FPS, because anything lower than that will cause motion sickness. So the goal with Resident Evil 7 was to have a game that ran at 60 FPS. Not only ran at 60 FPS, at a time when most games didn't. I mean, the vast majority of PS4 and Xbox One games did not run at 60, or anywhere close to, due to their shitty CPUs. Usually it was on remasters. And looked as good as possible. And 7 accomplished it. It had gorgeous lighting, gorgeous textures, foliage, stuff that normally skimped out of, and it ran at a consistent 60 FPS at 1080p. And the upgraded version runs at 4K 60 and like a lock 60. Well, you don't put on ray tracing, but more on that in a second. Resident Evil 7 has stellar lighting, and that is highlighted by the amazing flamethrower, maybe one of the best flamethrowers I've ever seen in a game. Lighting up the room with amazing physics and effects. And flamethrowing this bitch at 60 FPS and seeing it light up the room and light up the dark greenhouse and the flame travel as you move it is just kind of a sexual experience. And once again, the fact that it ran at like a lock 60 on PS4, base PS4, is kind of insane. This is also where I can give you some friendly advice. If you are lucky enough to have a next-gen version of Resident Evil 7, turn off the ray tracing. Now, the ray tracing in Resident Evil 7 and 2 Remake and 3 Remake they added, it's like Resident Evil 8. It's exceptionally low quality. It's like only a quarter of the resolution, so even though this game is 4K, it's literally only 720p. It's barely noticeable in action, and it hardly takes performance. See, here's it with the ray tracing off. It completely stable. The only time you'll ever get any frame rate drops is a little bit when you're going between areas, and that's not really a drop, that's more like a loading hitch. But when we go over to the same scene with ray tracing, it gets bad. So yeah, in my personal opinion, that's why Marguerite is the best boss fight in Resident Evil history. The setting, the theme, the freedom, the multitude of ways it can play out, the amazing lighting and effects, the sheer terror of it, it's an amazing fight. I've been on a Resident Evil kick lately, and I'm probably going to make more Resident Evil content. If you like this, or just like the channel in general, please like, comment, and subscribe. It makes more of a difference than you think. This is Kieran Reese, the O.C.G, the Obsessive Compulsive Gamer. I am out. Have a great day.